In this video, we are going to answer the question, how do we determine equivalent fractions? So here we have two pizzas, and as we see, this is the same amount of pizza on each plate. But we have it broken up into different amounts, so the fraction is different. Here we have 1/2 of a pizza, and here we have 4/8. But we can see visually that these are the same fraction. They're equivalent fractions. And we're going to talk about today how we can see visually that they're equivalent fractions and mathematically how we get equivalent fractions and how we see if they are equivalent. So let's look at these two circles, and I want you to decide in your mind, are these equivalent fractions? Here we have 5 out of 6 that is purple, and here we have 5 out of 10 that is purple. Are these equivalent? No, they're not. And we can see visually that this clearly has more purple than this circle. How about these two circles? We have 3/4 here, and then we have 6/8. Is the shaded part equivalent in this circle and this circle? Yes, we can see that these are in fact equivalent. They are the same. This one is just broken up into more pieces that are equivalent. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here we only have 3, but it's 3 out of 4 and then 6 out of 8. That's how it's different, but you can see visually that it's the same. And now we're going to talk about how mathematically is the same, or how we get these to be the same thing. So here we have our two problems that we just did. This one we see as 3/4 equaling 6/8. And now how you get an equivalent fraction is you are just multiplying or dividing a fraction by 1. And 1 can equal any number, any possible number over that same number. So 2/2 equals 1, 3/3 equals 1, 4/4 equals 1, 5/5 equals 1, etc. All the way up to 1,000,000/1,000,000 equals 1, or even higher than that. But for this case, we see that 3/4 times 2/2 gives us 6/8. So when we multiply this by 1, we get an equivalent fraction to it as 6/8. So we see that this is the same, in fact, mathematically. And then the same way backwards, we have 6/8 divided by 1 in the form of 2/2 equals 3/4, which we see here. Now, over here, for 5/6 and 5/10, we have that they are not equivalent. And this is true because there is nothing that we could multiply this by and this by that would equal 1 to get this. It wouldn't be possible because 5 times 1 equals 5, and 6 times a point something equals 10. So, and those aren't the same number. So it's not 1, so it's not equivalent. Here we have 5/6 times, if we did it by 2/2, which is 1, we would get 10/12. So 10/12 is equivalent to 5/6, but not 5/10. Same as this. 5/10, you could divide this by 5/5, which equals 1, but that would give you 1/2. 1/2 is equivalent to 5/10, but 5/6 is not equivalent to 5/10. So here we're going to give an example of we have 1/2, and we're going to see different equivalent fractions to 1/2 by multiplying them by different forms of 1. So the first one we have here is 1/2 times 2/2, which is 1 here, which equals 2/4. So 2/4 is equivalent to 1/2. Then we do it by 3/3, we get 3/6. This is equivalent to 2/4 and 1/2. The same with this. If we multiply it again by 1, the 4/4, 4/8, and that is, all of these are the same because it's the same portion that we're applying of the item 1/2. We're just dividing it into more equivalent parts. but it's not adding more parts, it's just dividing all that we have more times. So that's why it's equivalent and the same amount that we have. And we can see it here with division as well. All of these answers divided by 1 in different forms equal that 1/2. And we're going to see this visually with this chart right here on our next slide. So here we have different number strips that are all the same. Look, they all equal 1. They're just divided into different amount of parts. So this one's 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's how many parts they're all divided by. And this line right here is the half mark. So this is where the strips would be in 1/2. So we can see the different strips that are divided into certain numbers where parts of it would be equivalent to 1/2. So here we have 1 out of 2, 1/2. Then here, 2 parts out of 4 total. And we see visually that this is the same as 1/2. Same as 3 out of 6, 4 out of 8, 5 out of 10, and 6 out of 12. And this could just keep going higher and higher if we just got more number strips and divided them even smaller. You would still get equivalent fractions. And we saw this how we did it numerically in the previous slide, and this is just summarized here for you. When you divide the numerator and denominator by the same number, which is like 2 over 2, which is equaling to 1, then it is equivalent fraction. Or when you multiply the numerator and denominator by the same number, then it is equivalent fraction as well. And so you're dividing by 1 or you're multiplying by 1 in that in order to get an equivalent fraction. So this video discussed how we determine equivalent fractions. Thank you guys so much for being attentive and learning this with me.